Oh.
Let me see if I can mute you all because it's still noisy. Okay, so today we have Japanese with our wonderful friend Mahoko, and I wanted to make sure that
if I can mute you all.
Okay. And I wanted to make sure that your personal friends gave an introduction to you. But before that, I wanted to say that Mahoko actually lives in the US right now. So we're dealing with time zones, and it's very exciting. And it's very opportune time to have, you know, online lessons for Language Mixer, because then that way we can connect with teachers around the world. But Mahoko, I have never personally met her because we met after she left Almaty. She lived in Almaty before, and thankfully our team, Nilay and Aigirim, knew her personally before, so she was able to join our sessions, and we're excited that she's going to host Japanese today. And I wanted to give a couple of moments quickly to Nilay and maybe Aigirim if you wanted to add a few things about Mahoko, because you know her better, but we're very excited she's part of Language Mixer family. So Nilay or Aigirim?
Yeah, actually, I can say that I am very happy that I met with Mahoko, and Mahoko also knows that. We spent really good times together while she was in Almaty. And good luck for today, Mahoko.
Thank you so much. You are so sweet, Nilay. Actually, you are living in the same apartment and then in the same floor. So we were very, very good neighbors.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm also very glad that I met Mahoko here. We met in international Almaty International Women's Club, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. And we after this we would, you know, go for a walk, and we would go out and spending lovely time together, exploring Almaty together. I would show her some interesting places. So I'm very glad, that she was here. She's a wonderful person, very interesting, very kind, very communicative. Yes, I like her very much. So good luck to you, Mahoko. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Love you.
Thank you, Aigirim. And with that, I would like to give the floor to Mahoko, our teacher of Japanese today. And thank you everyone who joined us and participating. Mahoko, the floor is yours.
Okay. So thank you for everyone to come here, and I'm gonna start Japanese lesson today. And I can see some of Japanese students, no, just one. Akira Kobayashi, is he Japanese? I believe so.
He looks like Japanese.
Yeah, he looks like Japanese, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'm gonna ask him later. But before, let's get just dive into the Japanese lesson directly. I'm gonna try to speak Japanese just a little bit. So maybe you would know the Japanese intonation or maybe some impressions, and maybe it's very interesting to listen to Japanese. So maybe I'm gonna introduce myself in Japanese, and you just listen to my Japanese and feel the impression, okay?
Sure. Sounds good.
And okay. はじめまして、私の名前は中野真帆です。今日は初めてのレッスンで少し緊張してるんですが、今日とても皆さんに会えることを楽しみにしていました。今日が楽しいレッスンになるように頑張りますので、どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。Thank you very much. So,
よろしくお願いします。
I think I'm very interested in your opinion about how do you feel listen to Japanese. Is that very flat, and compared to English, it's very monotonous sometimes, and it's very smooth, I think. So I think maybe I'm gonna pick some of you guys and listen to the opinions about Japanese language.
Oh.
So
You need help
Is-
picking?
Yes, if there is no volunteer.
Okay, let's see. Dorian.
No, I mean, I
Oh
speak
yeah, he.
Japanese and my friends too, so I don't know, Japanese for me sounds great.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I really like it. I
So
had a
you.
passion for
Sure.
Japanese.
Mhm.
Yeah, now my passion went down. I don't know how to put it a bit. Yeah, and it sounds like maybe as Kazakh language, maybe sometimes, because you know
Okay, interesting.
when Kazakh people speak, they don't not tend to, but they don't express their feelings with their words. Like it's
Mhm.
really like Japanese sounds.
Mhm.
I mean, I think we use like a lot of Russian words and then our expression or feelings will change. But if we speak plain Kazakh words, it will be like steady.
Okay. Yeah. I
Probably.
agree. Yeah. Because sometimes when I listen to Russian or English, it's very emotional and very strong sometimes.
Yeah.
And yeah, and Dorian, you participated in Japanese contest before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you could understand my Japanese.
Yeah, I hope.
That's amazing. Okay. Thank you for sharing your opinion, Dorian.
Thank you.
So maybe I'm gonna ask one more person.
Mm-hmm.
I think I also want to share my opinion. So lately I got interest in Japanese language because Japanese language is really similar to Korean language. I mean, the grammar structure is all the same. So
Okay.
I thought since I learned Korean language already, I have a good opportunity to learn one more language. So in my opinion, I think Japanese language has special intonation, which is recognizable whenever a Japanese person speaks any language. I think intonation is quite recognizable.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I want to mention about the Korean impression. Sometimes Japanese people think Korean accent is very cute, and a lot of my friends want to learn Korean because it sounds very cute. And I completely agree with that. I don't know why, but it sounds very friendly and cute sometimes.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
But you know that Ola is actually Korean. Well, she's Korean from Kazakhstan, but she moved to South Korea now, and so we have a very
Wow. Yeah, it's very international. Okay.
Do you want another opinion? I want Zika to say something because she's usually brave.
Okay. Hi, Zika. How are you?
Japanese. Actually, I really like how the Japanese language sounds. To me, it's like you have some idea and you express and you try to you try to convince me.
Convince you? Okay.
Yeah, it's you have some idea and I'm listening. Yes, I agree with you. I become in such feeling that I cannot say no. Yeah. It's just a feeling. Yeah, to me, it's for me, Japanese language is a little bit like a big mystery. because you've got so many things. You have a philosophy and your culture, everything inside, like such a cocktail, and you should drink it very carefully, like not to make mistakes. And I don't know, it's really interesting because you never know. Like for me, like when you say something, I'm thinking, she's saying this, but probably she's thinking something else. So it's not very direct like German.
Okay.
You use it like you use some beautiful ways to explain some things, like river, or like you are going around the mountains or something among trees. So it's really mysterious, and that's why this language is very attractive, and as a part of culture, it's also like, wow.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Zika. Yeah, sometimes we avoid going direct because we don't want to offend people, and sometimes it's very awkward to go very direct. But it's true, sometimes we avoid say very directly. So maybe I'm gonna introduce some of the basic knowledge about Japanese at first, and then maybe we gonna practice Japanese pronunciation just a little bit later. So at first, I have to mention about this. The sentences go from top to bottom, and at the same time, sentences go from left to right. So maybe I'm gonna show some examples. So now I'm reading two kind of books right now. And one of the book, so maybe you could see the sentence goes from top to bottom. Could you see?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we read from top to bottom. And another book is going from left to right. So for example, when I read this book, I'm gonna read like left to right. So both are correct, totally okay, but it really depends on the occasion, and sometimes depends on some people's preference. So when my grandma always write letter from top to bottom to me, and my mom always write from left to right. So maybe Japanese culture is kind of westernized recently. So maybe younger people pretend to prefer to write from left to right. But I think my grandma or grandpa likes to write from top to bottom. But I think both are okay. And when I was learning a scientific subject like mathematics or biology, it's going from left to right. And when it comes to Japanese language or some old Chinese, it's going from top to bottom. So I think it's a very interesting point about Japanese culture and the Japanese language, because it can be go both. So the next thing.
Yeah, Zahid. I'm sorry.
No, no worries, no worries. No, you guys feel free to speak all the time, because I open the window, so it can be noisy sometimes. So if you have some trouble or yeah, please let me know as soon as possible. In the next slide, I'm gonna introduce about the Japanese letters. And when it comes to English, there is only alphabet, right? There is only alphabet. But we have three kinds of letters. So the first one is hiragana. It's a most basic.
Kanji.
Yeah. And the first one is most basic, hiragana. So if you start learning Japanese, hiragana is gonna be first, and then katakana. And the katakana is we use for words from foreign countries like computer or orange or flower or something like that. So katakana is for foreign terms, and kanji is Chinese character. You know that maybe 2 weeks ago there was a Chinese lesson, and I really enjoyed it. And I think it's the most difficult part of Japanese language because it's crazy. And I heard there are 10,000 kanji. And maybe we usually use 5,000 kanji in daily lives. And that's a lot. And sometimes for me, it's very hard to learn because usually I type a lot and we don't write. And whenever I'm trying to write the kanji, I forget a lot. And my mom is working at the high school and she is a Japanese teacher. So she always makes fun of me. You forgot that kanji? Easy peasy kanji? That's so embarrassing or something like that. Because some people think if you cannot write kanji at all. Maybe some people think, oh, she's not very educated or so it's a little bit different from another language, but I think it's amazing because each character has a meaning. So that's very interesting because A or B or C doesn't have any meaning, but each Chinese character has a meaning. So if you I try to write my name, some people always ask me, what's the meaning of your kanji? And I think that's very amazing because you can choose anything and you can express emotion or feelings or happiness from writing kanji. So let's remember the greetings just a little bit. And all of them are very basic. So don't feel any pressure. It's very easy and I would help you. But I'm gonna practice just a little bit with you guys. So I'm gonna say first. So could you repeat me, please? So hello is konnichiwa. Konnichiwa. Okay, repeat me.
Konnichiwa.
Yes, that's beautiful. Yeah. Who was that?
こんにちは。
Me,
私の名前。
Wow. Okay. And the next one is thank you. Arigato.
Arigato.
Yes, beautiful. You can also say arigatou gozaimasu. It's an honorific form. It sounds a little bit more polite. And yeah, but I think arigato is enough to say thank you. And sorry is sumimasen. Sumimasen. Yes.
Sumimasen.
Sumimasen. Yes, that's correct. And you can say sometimes, especially in the train, it's very crowded in Japan. So maybe you would say sumimasen to someone, just move just a little bit because it sounds very polite and friendly rather than push someone. And the last one is see you. Sayonara.
Sayonara.
Yes,
Sayonara.
beautiful. Yes. Or maybe you just say bye-bye.
You say
I
bye-bye?
hear some, yeah, what
Oh,
was
okay.
that?
Let me see where the noise is coming from. Okay.
Okay. So maybe you just say sayonara, but you also say bye-bye. And when I was 14 years old, I went to Canada and it was my first time to go abroad. And I was really surprised because Canadian people said to me bye-bye. And until then, I thought bye-bye is Japanese. But actually, it was not correct. And bye-bye is English, but we also say bye-bye, and it's very common in Japanese. And but be careful because it's very casual. So maybe you would say bye-bye to your friends and your mom or dad. But if you say to your teacher or boss, they're gonna be very surprised. because culturally you are very strict about the generation, or yeah, it's like a hierarchy. So I think just be careful about saying bye-bye. Okay, and the next slide is introduce yourself in Japanese. So maybe do I have any volunteers? Of course, I'm gonna help you.
I would like to try.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. And you want me to help you, or?
I will try with my what I learned.
Okay, that's amazing. Okay.
Yeah, but I might make mistakes, so please correct me.
Okay, sure.
はじめまして。私は名前はオルガです。私は大学生です。
Mm-hmm. That's correct. Yeah.
私は日本語文化に好きです。
日本語文化を好きです。Yes.
日本語文化を好きです。
It sounds like Ola belongs to some noble house, you know, or you know, from the house of this and this, because it's a long introduction. We are now scared that we can do it.
No, she's brilliant.
I just said that my name is Olga. I'm a student and I like Japanese language and Japanese culture, right?
Oh my
God. Yeah. And you said I was a university student. No, I am a university. Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. Also, yeah, go ahead.
There is a phrase that Japanese people always use when they introduce themselves. I forget.
よろしくお願いします。
Yes, よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。It means nice to meet you.
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much. I was very surprised because I prepared some kind of very basic lesson today, but she's very
All the rest
yeah, but she's kind of intermediate or advanced, so maybe it's a kind of very easy for her, but thank you so much. It was amazing.
No, today's lesson is really interesting for me.
Thank you so much. So maybe 2 or 3 more persons.
Okay, who doesn't know how to introduce yourself in Japanese and wants to learn? Nara Isabekova, please.
Konnichiwa. So I'm ready, but I don't know how to introduce myself.
Okay.
I know only arigato and konnichiwa, that's all.
Okay, I'm gonna help you. So maybe you would say hajimemashite, nice to meet you.
Hajimemashite?
Hajimemashite.
Hajimemashite?
Yes, correct. And maybe
it's like
watashi...
namaste in Hindi.
Yeah, namaste. Yeah. And maybe next you're gonna say your name. So 私の名前は私の名前は
私の名前は
Yes, 私の名前は
Mahoko, can I suggest if you can type the English transliteration in the chat, maybe?
Yeah, sure. I cannot find.
Oh, you need help. Oh, I'm sorry that well, I could do it for you if I knew how to do it.
I can do
Should
that.
I type it?
Oh, I can do
no.
that.
You found it? What
yes.
Okay.
名前は
chat now.
Okay.
私の名前は
Yes.
私の名前はです。
So So 私の名前はディナラです。
です。
Yes.
私の名前がディナラです。
Perfect. And maybe you would say よろしく。
よろしくお願いします。
Perfect. It means nice to meet you.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Thank you so much. Actually, your pronunciation is very clear and correct and very easy to understand.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So maybe...
Alia, your turn.
Добрый.
I said your turn, Alia.
I'm a facilitator. I'm excused. Добрый, come on, you can do this.
はじめまして。私の名前はダウレンです。
Speak fit. Oh my god.
よろしくお願いします。
Yeah. He's very, very good. Yeah.
Let me pick somebody else. Alexei, you will be.
こんにちは。私の名前はアレクセイです。I don't know anything else. Can you hear me?
Yes, of course. Yeah, and maybe you would add お願い、よろしくお願いします at the last. So
よろしくね。What?
よろしくお願い
お願い
します。
Nice to meet you.
I can hear.
Nice. Alexei, it's in the chat. It means
Yeah.
nice to meet you.
Oh my god. Okay. こんにちは。私の名前はアレクセイです。よろしくお願いします。
Perfect. Thank you so much. It was perfect.
Thank you.
And one more person, Nilay.
私の名前はニライです。よろしくお願いします。
Perfect. Nila, you are so cute.
Thank you, Mahoko.
Thank you so much.
Are you half Japanese?
Sorry?
Are you half Japanese?
No.
I'm sorry, Mahoko, I have a question for you. Are you free Japanese or you are part of Japan? You look like Kazakh girl.
Oh, really? I'm 100% Japanese. But when I was living in Kazakhstan, some people think I'm Kazakh because maybe I look like Kazakh and they spoke to me in Kazakh or in Russian, and I'm really afraid of that. Yeah, but yeah, I'm Japanese, full Japanese.
Zara,
To Mahoko, you are.
So we can move on.
I'm glad to see you.
Glad to see you too. So the next.
Mahoko, sorry. Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll leave some of the cultural questions or questions about you after your presentation and towards the end. If you have questions, please prepare questions.
Not strange question, Alia. I think it's interesting. I saw she is a Kazakh or maybe.
Yeah, we
like
just
that, you know. It's not strange a question, I think.
No, we didn't say it's strange. Who said it's strange? It's great that you have questions. We just want to make sure. Okay, we can progress, Mahoko, and we'll open to questions afterwards. I think there is some technical issues we're having. Sorry about that.
Okay, no worries. So maybe if you have any questions, please free to ask me. And maybe after finishing my lesson, you would probably have some questions. So maybe please free to ask me later again, and then maybe anytime. Yeah. So the next part is pronunciation practice. So as you might think, Japanese is pretty flat language. So my question is, how do you say orange in Japanese? Will someone try before I'm gonna answer the question?
Oranuge.
No.
Orange, orange or orangey?
Yes, that's correct. Actually, when it comes to pronunciation practice, I think it's the most important thing. No, I don't think like that, because pronunciation is kind of very important thing, but you have to learn grammar, or you have to learn culture. So you don't have to worry about pronunciation very much, but at the same time, it's very helpful to be understood. So my tip when it comes to speak Japanese is try to as flat as possible, because we speak very flat. And I have an American friend. He's very, very enthusiastic about learning Japanese, and he always struggling with eliminating his accent, because American English is very dynamic, I would say. It's going up and down like a music, and we don't do that in Japanese. So he said he always complaining about Japanese language because it's very hard to speak. I can't eliminate my accent, and I think it's totally okay. But my tip is try to be flat as possible. It's sometimes monotonous, I would say. So the correct answer is orange. So each syllable should be pronounced very equally. So orange, yes, orange. And the jika was very correct. The last one, orange, would you say it? And the next one is computer. And I'm living in the United States right now, so native speakers tend to pronounce T like D, like computer. But we don't do that in Japanese, so we pronounce T very clearly. So computer. So someone try saying that.
Computer.
Yes, yes, very correct. Computer, like computer. So my American friend said it sounds like a applause, or a very just sounds. It's very strange. So we say like computer.
Computer.
Yes. And the next one is very interesting, I think. McDonald's. It's very different. How do you say in Russian, by the way?
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Mm.
It's very similar. Yeah. Okay. And we say McDonald in Japanese.
McDonald.
Yeah, just try to be very flat. McDonald. Is there anyone who wanna try?
McDonald.
Okay. Don't you say just Mac?
Yeah, maybe some I think Japanese people love to make it shorter. Like every long word should be shorter. So some people say just Mac or Makudo. And I'm from west part of Japan, so some people say just Makudo. And I think Tokyo people say Mac rather than Makudo.
Yeah,
But I think and the next one is Apple. And I think this is also kind of very different, because that's the most difficult part for Japanese people, because we have exactly similar word in Japanese, but the pronunciation is very, very different. And someone want to try before I'm gonna show the answer?
プル
Yes, apple, apple,
apple.
apple. Yes, apple. So maybe you're gonna kind of grasp the Japanese intonation gradually. And the last one is Starbucks. And I remember it reminds me of the experience in Kazakhstan. So one day I went to a Sentai Mall and it was very, very hot day. So on the way home, I called Uber or Yandex Taxi. And the Uber driver called me, where are you? And actually he was speaking Russian. He said, Guje, Guje. And I know Guje means where, so I was trying to explain I'm in front of Starbucks because in Sentai Mall there is a Starbucks, right? And even though I couldn't speak Russian correctly, maybe he would understand my Starbucks, so maybe we can meet later. So I kept saying Starbucks, I'm in front of Starbucks. And he said, what are you saying? I'm in front of Starbucks. And and then he hung it up and I was waiting. And I was waiting like 20 minutes. And he called me again and Guje Guje. And I kept saying Starbucks. Do you know Starbucks? The green and white and weird women in the front, the Starbucks. But he couldn't understand me. And finally, he canceled my order, and I walked to my house. And I was really depressed because I was trying so hard. But after that, I heard in Russian people say Starbucks. Is that correct? So I think the pronunciation is just a little bit different, but he couldn't understand me. I don't know why, but
the difference in the letter R.
Yeah.
We say Starbucks. R.
Yeah. And I cannot do that. Starbucks.
Yes, it was good.
Thank you. But today is Japanese lesson, but
Mahoko,
Arya, yeah.
To ask if you would like questions that are coming in the chat to come at the end, or would you like to, like, I'm just tracking them because Leonardo asked if you have the sounds of L and V in Japanese. I think it's related to this discussion now. L,
V?
like lemon, you know, the first letter of lemon, and then V as victory.
Okay, victory. Yeah. It's a different, yeah. So, Arya, what was the question? Is that?
Do you have those sounds in Japanese, like phonetics?
Yeah, actually, we do have L sound, but we don't have R sound.
His microphone is off. He's speaking something.
Okay.
Can you unmute, Leonardo? Can you unmute yourself?
Yes.
Okay, he can't hear me. Here. Yeah, Leonardo, you are unmuted.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your presentation, Mahoko. My name is Leandro.
My pleasure.
No, I found it interesting that you said, how did you say McDonald's? Could you repeat McDonald's?
Yeah. McDonald.
No, because do you have the sound L in Japanese? This sound L.
Actually, L is not very specifically similar. It's not like that, but we do have very similar sound, L. So we don't have much problem speaking L, but we do have problem speaking R.
Okay, because I also know that the name of the band Nirvana, right? It's a V, and I've heard, maybe I'm not right, that in Japan it's called Nirubana. That's why I thought they don't have some sounds, right, in Japanese. So
yeah. But is kind of very new for Japanese people, but recently it's very westernized. So I think younger people recognize the sound of v, but I think many people misunderstood it's v, and b is different. But so for Japanese people, it sounds very similar.
Okay, thank you very much for explanation.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Please go on. Please go on.
Okay.
And a quick update for everyone: Leonardo is our future teacher of Portuguese.
Wow, I'm
Mahoko,
excited.
he's auditing your lesson and taking it as a benchmark. Maybe. No pressure.
Next week?
We will see. It's subject to yeah.
Okay, can't wait. Okay, so anyway, Starbucks is pronounced like Starbucks in Japanese. So maybe we're gonna practice together.
Starbucks.
Starbucks. Yes. Starbucks. And yes, Starbucks. And the coffee pronounced like coffee.
Coffee.
Coffee. Yes. Coffee. Yeah. Coffee. Okay, so the last part is just a very fun quiz. And good luck to you guys. And maybe you can say it loud, or you can write an answer in the chat box. So my question is, what does kaku mean? So first one is scratch, and the second one is right, and the third one is square.
It's right.
So
Square.
Some of the square or right. Is there any answer?
All of them.
Okay.
Maybe Chicago, maybe.
Yeah, shikaku. Yeah. The same kanji. So I heard 2 or 3. So everyone, do you agree with that? Or is there any answer?
I don't know, square maybe.
Square, okay. Actually, Dorian was correct. All of them are correct. And the reason why I choose this quiz is because I want to introduce you guys about the same sound can be different meaning. So I'm gonna write in the chat box answer. So the first one is writing like this, and the second one is like this. And the third one is wrote like this. And I think it's very confusing for foreigners and even for Japanese people, because there is some kind of misunderstanding, and it happens all the time because the same pronunciation and the same and the different meaning. But we can distinguish from the Chinese letter all the time. So it's very important to know the Chinese letter rather than just knowing hiragana or katakana. And the second question is, what does onegai shimasu mean? I think I introduced you guys onegai shimasu before. So the first one is please, second one is I want to eat, and the third one is I'm hungry, and the fourth, excuse me.
Excuse me.
Okay, number 4.
Maybe please.
Please. Okay. Okay, nobody said 2 or 3. Maybe 1 or 4 is confusing answer. But actually, onegaishimasu means please. The first one is correct. And it's very convenient word because Japanese people say onegaishimasu all the time. Like at the restaurant or at the coffee shop or at the supermarket, everywhere onegaishimasu. You can hear a lot of onegaishimasu in Japan. And for example, if you go to the cafe and just one coffee onegaishimasu, and it's the order is done. It's very easy. So I think if you travel to Japan, onegaishimasu is very convenient and useful words to remember. And how do we say Kyoto in Japan? In Japanese, sorry. And my hint is we pronounce T like very clear T, not like D. So maybe Dorian, you wanna try?
はい。京都。
Yes, yes, very correct. So I think this pronunciation is very different when it comes to English because some native speakers say Kyoto, Kyoto. So it sounds very different for me. And Tokyo is also very different because some people say Tokyo. So at first I couldn't understand, but Kyoto and Tokyo is correct answer. And the last quiz is, what does haru mean? So first one is spring, and the second one is glue, and the third one is stretch, and the fourth, be full. I know it's hard.
Gideon
Maybe
voted
first.
first.
We
Zika
have a picture of spring in the background.
That is actually fall, autumn.
Yeah, so
Spring, yeah. I wanna make it very
Okay.
confusing.
spring.
Okay, I see a lot of first answer.
Before maybe. Haru.
Before,
Dinara thinks it's the fourth one. Be full, to be full.
Before maybe.
before, okay. Okay, so my answer is actually all of them are correct.
Oh my
It's
God.
so confusing, right? Yeah, haru is very short term and very easy to say, but it means a lot of word like spring, blue, stretch, before. So again, it's very confusing, and I highly recommend that when it comes to Japanese, make sure that you have to have certain kinds of Chinese character knowledge because it's very helpful when you read and write, and even when you speak. So
Mahoko-san, can you write them down? I mean,
yeah, sure. So the first one is,
spring.
I love this Chinese character. It's very beautiful. And paste means this one. And stretch means, oh, sorry. This one. And what was the last one?
Full.
Oh, yeah, full. I couldn't find the... Maybe you can also use this Chinese character because when you say haru, it means your stomach is very full. So it's like a very stretching in this area. So you know what I mean? So you can also use this Chinese character.
What do you say? Onaka ga haru?
Yes, onaka ga haru. So it means sometimes it's very I'm hungry And also, sometimes there is a very, you have a stomachache and there is a gas in your stomach. So in that case, you can also say onaka ga haru.
Actually, we all know this Japanese word like harakiri.
Yeah. Actually, that's different word. Like harakiri means.
No, I mean.
Kiri is a sword.
Yes. But
yeah.
We all heard of this word, but we've never thought about meaning of this word. But we know what does it mean.
Okay. Very, very old times, Japanese people are very, very strict about the rules. So if the samurai did something wrong, they commit the suicide by cutting their stomach.
Seppuku.
No, seppuku.
Seppuku and harakiri.
It's the same meaning because
Kanji is the same, yeah? Oh no.
Yeah, kanji is the same. If you see the chapbooks, the kanji is exactly the same. It means cut your stomach.
The kind of things we learn.
I can't believe that how they could do that. Sorry, go ahead.
Important vocabulary.
Not important at all. You don't have to remember this.
Sorry.
Yeah, so
but people who did harakiri must have a crazy amount of courage to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Can you even imagine? I cannot imagine because it's so scary and sometimes some people cannot do that by themselves. So there is a person behind them, and if he didn't do that, another person does that instead of him or her.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. But it doesn't exist anymore. It's very, very old times. So
we can discuss it towards the end, but I did hear the nuclear, the director of the nuclear station the Fukushima, he committed suicide like that because he considered that it was his fault. So it does happen. Poor guy.
I believe he didn't cut his stomach.
Okay. But
I
idea, right? Oh, sorry, Denari.
No, it's okay. I just remembered the book, novel, James Clavell's Shogun.
Shogun?
Shogun. Yeah, in Russian is Shogun. So I love this book because that was a great, explanation of the Japanese culture for the foreigner. And I was impressed because there are a lot of meanings and a lot of introduction in seppuku and harakiri and the other stuff. So that was great. That was so. In this novel, I found some grammatic and some tips for using Japanese language. And at that time, I remembered some words and sentences, and I used them. But now I just forgot everything. It was about 5 or 6 years ago. So I highly recommended this book for if you are not in this culture. This is really great introduction.
Thank you, Dinara. Actually, before Mahoko comments, I wanted to mention that our team recently exchanged some books. So Aituara from our language mixer team has that book in English. If you want to read, you can borrow from my book, Shogun. Sorry, Aituara, to put you on the spot. Yeah, sorry, Mahoko. We keep disturbing you and from your
No worries.
Sorry about that.
No worries. I finished my content, so maybe it's a question time. So maybe you.
This was the time.
Yeah. Feel free to ask anything like favorite place in Japan or my favorite place for recommendation to travel or food or anything. Yeah.
So do you want to stop your presentation, or it's
Yeah,
not
maybe I'm gonna stop.
so that we would see your face?
Yeah. Yeah, now I can see everyone.
Okay.
That's great. Yeah.
So guys, you can unmute yourselves, everyone, so that hopefully you don't have any more bad noise. And would you like everyone to introduce themselves, Mahoko, or?
Yeah.
Now they know how to. So you have two choices, either in Japanese or in English, maybe just and why you are interested in Japanese culture or what you know. Just
I
one, two
want to
words.
say.
Alexei, go ahead.
Okay.
The first about seppuku. I have watched a legendary movie directed by Masaki Kobayashi. It's a 1962 date of production. It's very interesting movie, very old. It's about Ronin requesting seppuku at the feudal's palace. So I want you to see that movie. It's very legendary, interesting. Also, I love Japanese language because of my school years when I watched anime Naruto. So I know many words from Japan, Japan culture, Japan mythology, like Amaterasu and something else. So time changed, but I still love Japanese language, and it's very interesting for me. Also, I worked at Japanese company Hitachi. Hitachi Construction Machinery. Also, in our company, we call each other with san prefix, like Alexei-san, and like that.
Thank you.
I want to learn Japanese often as possible, and Mahoko is a very cute girl.
Thank you. Good. You're so sweet.
Okay, thank you. So I'm finished.
Thank you. Yeah, his pronunciation is very clear, and thank you for your enthusiastic participation in this class, Alexei. I wanna thank you for you.
Next, Dinara.
Hi everyone, my name is Dinara. I'm just fan of Japanese horror movies. That's all I think.
Horror movie?
Yeah, horror movies. So I'm just that's all what me and Japanese culture. It's our connection. It's our bridge. I think so, and I'm a fan of Shogun, this novel, and I think. But I have so many friends who works in Japanese companies. That's all. But they never say anything to me in Japanese. But no. I have another one. When I'm, in Turkey or in Europe, everyone thinks that I'm a Japanese girl. They think that I'm Chinese or Japanese. That's
okay.
So could you just recommended some maybe horror movies today?
Actually, you are professional, and I cannot watch any horror movie. I used to try watch Ring. Do you know that?
Yeah. I love it.
I was horrified because whenever I stay at home alone, I was terrified being alone. And also, Sadako is very famous, right?
Why do people in Japan love horror movies? That's a question for later.
We don't.
No, you're famous for them.
Please don't be shy. It's not true.
Thank Thank you, Dinarik. Zika?
Okay, I'll try a little bit in Japanese. はじめまして。私の名前はZikaです。I forgot a lot of Japanese. Okay, よろしくお願いします。
We have extras today, that's why it was easy to
I really, okay, just one or two sentences why I like this language. Firstly, I'm very inspired of Japanese culture and language because of actually Kazakh old political party Alash, because it was intelligent people, and they also wanted to build the Kazakh nation like on example of
Japanese economic model.
Yes, they wanted to invent it those days in Kazakhstan, and I think it's quite interesting. I don't know. It's really it's still a good example for us to do something like in our country to integrate it. And Japanese people, a little bit. But I think Japanese language also not that far from Kazakh language. We are in the same group, like Altai group, and we have a lot of similarities. And what else? I like some Japanese writers like Agutagawa Ryunosuke, or I don't know. I see that he was inspired a lot by Chekhov or some other Russian like writers, and I like Japanese intelligent people. Like also they inspire me a lot too. So I'm speaking too much.
No worries. Actually, she mentioned about Akutagawa Ryunosuke, and he's also my favorite writer. And he was not recent person. He was very old person, but he's very, very talented. And his novel is very, I think, particularly I don't know. It's just different from other novelists, and I highly recommend to read this book. And when I was an elementary or junior high school student, we learned about him a lot. So it's very interesting and I think very new for me. Thank you for sharing.
Welcome.
Thank you for being so deep, guys. Wow. Aituar.
Okay. Hello everyone. 私の名前はAituarです。よろしくお願いします。I don't really know Japanese. I just really like to, always have something new, to learn something new. And for me, one of the Japanese people that I admire is Hayao Miyazaki. He's a Japanese director. He created so many animated films, and I'm pretty sure you know some of them. The most I remember is the what's it called? A Castle in the Sky. Yes, Ходячий замок is quite really good. So, and well, for me it's just I'm here to learn something new. So thank you for the lesson today.
My pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Aituar. Aygirim.
Yeah, hello everyone. So actually I like a lot about Japanese culture. I remember myself like before I enrolled to bachelor degree. and I was talking to the, how do I say, admission people, and I would, they said like, tell a little bit about yourself, and I said, I like Japanese culture, I love Japanese culture. Like that time I was really like interested and inspired by the movie Memoirs of Geisha. Yeah, the people who saw it, like it was so really beautiful with that kind of, I don't know, romantic atmosphere maybe. So and the story and stuff like this. And also I like about Japanese culture, Japanese nature is sakura blossom, like many girls, that's something that is beautiful in a specific time of the year, something to be admired. And also I like Toyota cars. Well, it's not that I like, but I know that Japanese companies make quite quality stuff, and Toyota cars is like one of them. So yeah, what else? Naruto, Baruto. I still watch. Yes, the next generation. It's about Naruto's son. Also interesting. Well, lots of people criticizing that. Oh, it's kind of the same story, but a little bit different. But for me, it's still amazing. I just love this. It brings really good meaning to the people and inspiration, like meaning of the friendship, let's say, and how to stay a good person. Well, really good message brings out. Ghibli studio also I love. Very beautiful animes. Yes, I didn't watch all of the animes of Ghibli, but hopefully I will. So what else?
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah, I think that's all.
thank you, Agiri. Mahoko, you're finding out a lot more about Japanese culture today than
Yeah,
from our
I
eyes.
always.
So Dorian?
Okay. Japanese? 皆さん、もう一回はじめまして。私はダウレンです。今、なんだっけ、ソフトウェアディベロッパーとして働いていて、少し難しいですね、その仕事。で、よろしくお願いします。
Did he tell
Amazing.
you?
Like he's really like Japanese-ish, like or yeah, he's like very Japanese.
Good talent we discover among participants today. Thank you, Dorian. Hopefully that was something nice that you knew about the Japanese culture, because we couldn't understand. Nilay?
Okay, I'm here. 私の名前はニライです。よろしくお願いします。します。Yes, is that correct? And I could suggest one anime that I already mentioned to you, Marco. You remember Death Note?
Yeah, Death Note. That's my favorite.
One of my favorites, really. Yeah. Marco, yeah. I highly recommend it. Death Note. I can write if you want.
You want to write it in the chat?
Okay, I'm writing.
There's many fans already who saw that. So after the introduction, you can ask Mahoko more questions. We just want to make sure we go over. Leonardo, you don't have to, I mean, whatever you know about Japanese culture, but yeah, I guess you probably hopefully also have interest in the culture.
I like some Japanese animated films, like what his name he mentioned. Really cool director. Another classic from that director, Spirited Away.
Mm.
It's very. Have you heard about this film, Spirited
Yeah,
Away?
it is on Netflix. If you
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. So it's really good. And I also there's a very good director. I think he's American or British, Wes Anderson. And his last animated film was half in Japanese, half in English.
Swedish, I think.
Isle of Dogs. It's like stop motion. It's really good. So if you like, what's your name again? Aituar. I recommend Isle of Dogs if you haven't seen it. So in Japanese, to introduce myself, I don't know anything, only like arigato, right? Because everybody knows, but I learned today, I think it's Haji namaste, watashi no namae ga yoroshiku onegai. Oh, no. Watashi no namae ga Leandro desu. Something like this.
Okay.
Is it correct?
Correct. Yeah, perfectly correct.
Mahoko is applauding. Excellent. Thank you, Leonardo.
And then, yoroshiku onegai shimasu. It's like,
yes.
Nice to meet you, right?
Yes, nice to meet you. Actually, the original meaning is please take care of myself, or it's weird, but we use like nice to meet you.
Good. So thank you. I wanted to ask about intonation, like accent, right? Do you have many different accents in Japanese? Is it time for a question or not yet?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because from what I understand, the further a language expands, right? The larger the territory, the more different colors or accents you have. Even in Kazakhstan, you have many different accents in Kazakh language, in Portuguese, in Brazil, a big country, and in English, you all know how many different accents we have in English, from Australia to the United States. And what about Japan? It's not such a big territory. Do you have many different accents? For example, if you go to the furthest island in the Japan country, it's what's the name of the island?
Okinawa.
Do they have a different accent from you in the main land or main island?
Yeah, good question. Actually, we do have accents. So as I said, I was from western part of Japan. So I do have accent, but when I speak Japanese, I'm trying to speak like a Tokyo people because it's kind of very centered accent. And we do have slightly difference, but it's not like a very big difference. So we still be able to communicate very smoothly. But sometimes there are some words that I couldn't understand when I go to northern part of Japan, like Hokkaido or Okinawa. But you know, it's not very, very big difference, but we do have some slightly difference.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
We have Amina, Akira, and Sayora, and also we have Gabi joining. So Amina, it's your turn.
So I haven't said a word today because I was so interested and I was listening to you, Mahoko. And I've just remembered that when we were preparing for our midterm control in the university, it was me who prepared some information about Japanese culture compared with Haruki Murakami's story. It's called The Iceman. So we actually made analysis of his like a set of stories which called Lexington Ghosts. And that's how I found out about Natsukashi and Sabi. And it was really interesting for me. I found a book about this kind of Japanese concepts and Japanese culture itself. And I read about Natsukashi, and you know, it was really impressive for me because I've never met such notions in any other cultures. So I can say that I'm keen on anime, but I haven't been watching them lately. But I watched Totoro and Yes. So, and of course, I know such words like arigato and konnichiwa. So, I would really like to go to Japan one day, not like China, not Korea, but exactly Japan. I don't know why. I find it, I find it a really interesting country, and yeah, just I don't mean to offend people who are interested in these cultures. I mean, Korean and Japanese, but for me, I find the Japanese culture the most interesting one in terms of its um, music, sorry, not music, but the films and the literature, I would say.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you.
Thank you. Totoro is also my favorite movie, and when I grew up, I can cry watching Totoro. It's weird, but yeah, it's a very emotional movie for me. And
Mahoko. We have Akira Kobayashi. I wonder if he's Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
Okay. Hello, guys. Hello. Actually, I'm first time here, and my friend Darren invited me, and he says that a lot of beautiful girls will join this conversation, and he was right. Thank you. Yeah, actually, yeah, Darren, thank you. And actually, my name is Yerbolat, but in Japanese, yeah, in Japanese it pronounced like Yerborato. ですから今なんかアキラという名前を使っていて、アキラと申します。どうぞよろしくお願いします。はい、これで以上です。
So you are Kazakh?
Yeah, I'm Kazakh. I'm ethnical Kazakh.
Okay. Okay. I thought you are Japanese, but thank you for your pronunciation is also very good. Thank you.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Thank you so much, Yerbolat, right? And also for revealing what Dorian thinks about language mixer. Your turn.
So Sayura?
Some technical things. Hello, guys. Arigato.
Hello.
My name is Sayura. Maybe this is, and I was always mixed, with the people named me Sayuri because of the Diaries of Geisha Diaries. I don't know. Yes, because of that movie. And actually, after that movie, everybody started calling me Sayuri. And not only konnichiwa and madre mia, Leonara. So these are the few things. Don't know much about Japan, actually, but we were planning the trip there in May. So hopefully we will do it.
Thank you so much, Sayura. Before Dinara goes, wait. She left. Okay. Well, okay, never mind. Gabi, thank you, Sayura. It's good to see you. Gabi, if you're available, I know you joined late, but we're asking to introduce ourselves and what you know about Japanese culture. But she's on mute, so I wonder. Actually, before she left, Dinara asked if you can help teach how to confess love in Japanese. I will tell her later, but I will record it right now so that she knows the answer. And before everybody leaves, we're actually going to wrap up in 3 minutes. And after that, we will have a social in where you can chat with Mahoko further if you're right, and ask more like personal questions. Last time when we had Chinese, I remember Mahoko and Girim and some others, we were asking about, things you cannot find in other travel guides, like, what's the dating culture in China or whatever. It was political system and other things. We try not to go into religions and politics too much, but you can ask anything. I think Mahoko is ready to answer. So that would be for another hour or so if you guys are around, depending on Mahoko's availability also. But anyway, so I think Gabi's not available right now. So anyway, Mahoko, before you go to translate how to say I love you in Japanese, I wanted to ask everyone, those of you who are new, don't know this drill, that would be Akira Kobayashi, Doren's friend. And also Leandro, sorry. We have a tradition where we ask everyone to say thank you in the language we learned. With that, I would like to ask.
O kalır. Dur ben gelip söyleyeceğim bir. I'm so sorry. I'm just speaking in Turkish.
Yeah, we heard.
I'm so sorry.
This is called language mixer, Nilay. Perfect. We actually have Turkish, Portuguese, Korean, German, Russian, how many? Spanish? So many languages we speak today. Anyway, I don't know if you guys, I haven't prepared anyone for the prompts, but maybe Aitoar, would you like to do the prompts? And then after Aitoar finishes, we're gonna say thank you in Japanese. Let's agree how we're gonna say, is it arigato or arigato gozaimasu? Gozaimasu. Okay, sorry. I see I'm wrong. Let's do the longer one.
So we decided to tell what? Arigato?
Arigato gozaimasu.
Arigato gozaimasu.
And Daurian, would you be able to post it in the chat so that everybody doesn't confuse it?
Yeah.
Thank you. And after that, we can switch to the social parts. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we can start, yeah? So today we had Japanese with Mahoko, and we want to say to her,
Arigato
gozaimasu. Okay.
Oh my God.
Maybe you repeat? What do you think?
Okay.
Yeah, just one more time to be, I guess, better.
Thank you.
Okay, so today we had Japanese with Mahoko, and we want to say
Arigato
gozaimasu.
My pleasure, guys. ありがとうございました。すごく楽しかったです。ありがとう。
ありがとうございます。
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mahoko. And
group photo.
I know the most interesting part will come now because people can ask questions away. So guys, and before we begin, how would you say I love you, Mahoko?
愛してます。
Oh, sorry, I didn't record that. I should record it. Okay.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, suki is enough. 愛してます is very deep and too much maybe. So 好き is more simple and more like a light nuance. So あなたのことが好きです means I like you.
Thank you, Mahoko. I will pass this to Dinara. But thank you so much. This was more of a cultural trip. I guess it's hard to learn Japanese, from the first language, from the first lesson. So truly appreciate your time. And it was finally, we were waiting since the second day you joined us. So thank you so much for preparing it. And I think everybody can now ask away questions that you had and whatever you had.
And Alia, before we start, let's take a group photo. We forgot it.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Okay, if everyone is...
a lot of people, but it's okay.
1, 2, and 3. Yes, one more.
Oh.
One more. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, guys.
Thank you, Nilay.
Thank you, Mahoko. Thank you for everything. And I have to go, as you know. So, have a good night. Bye-bye.
Have a good night, Nilay. Bye-bye.
Thank you again, Mahoko. Bye-bye.
My pleasure.
I actually have a question, Mahoko. When you was here in Kazakhstan, what did you like the most?
It's very hard to say just one word, but I would probably say the people were very kind because whenever I was carrying the very heavy heavy bag from the supermarket, somebody would help me maybe most of the time. And I was living in Tokyo, so people are said a little bit cool and very apathetic about the other person. Like they don't care about other person. But in Kazakhstan, they do care other person even though they are strangers. So I like the mood or personality or mentality about the people in Kazakhstan, and that's very new and very warm for me.
Okay.
So if I choose one, I would probably say the kindness of people.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Mahoko, please, what do you think is the most beautiful word in Japanese language? I hear about beautiful word akirameru. It sounds very, very beautiful. What, in your opinion, the most beautiful word?
Okay. I think it's very, very hard to explain, but maybe wabi sabi. Maybe Amira, you said sabi right before.
Yes, it's like sabi or wabi, right? And it has
Yes,
they
yes.
have like the same meaning, right? Or are they actually different?
Yeah. Like you also can say wabi sabi at the same time, or you just say sabi, but it's a very specific Japanese people's feeling, and I don't know. Help me, Amira, to explain that feeling.
Okay, thank you. Very
Yeah, so
interesting.
maybe if you Google about wabi sabi, you can probably guess what it is, and maybe it takes time to grasp the meaning. But yeah, please try to do that, and it's a very kind of cultural mentality about Japanese people.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna write down the chat box just in case.
Wabi sabi.
Wasabi. But
It's like wasabi.
Yes, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, wasabi. Yeah, it sounds like wasabi.
Okay.
Yeah, second question I have.
Mm-hmm.
Why Japanese people don't like foreign people? As well as I know, in Japan, the most population, the most part of population, 99% maybe is Japan people. Why do Japanese don't like foreign people and don't allow them to live in Japan?
I think the biggest reason is we are, the very small, tiny island, and it's surrounded by the ocean. So the first reason is a very geographic reason, because it's very hard to come here, and also the hardest part is language, because it's so different. And if you are American, it sounds easier to go to Spain, and maybe you can guess they are speaking because some of the words are very similar, but Japanese is very different from other language. So maybe foreigners find it very difficult, and at the same time, Japanese people don't get used to having the foreigners in their countries. So probably the situation is very, very different right now, because in Tokyo, I see a lot of foreigners, because another very, very serious problem is we are very aging kind of aging population, you know what I mean? So people are getting very older, and we don't have a good resource of working people. So we do have to hire foreigners from especially Vietnam or China or sometimes Korea. So I think the situation is kind of different right now, but we do have I think still make us a lot of effort to foreigners to come to Japan, and maybe otherwise we don't we cannot survive, I think, because we don't have many population and we don't have a good resource like Kazakhstan, because you have good resource in the underground, but we don't have anything. So we have to create something in my country.
Yes. I mean. Also, have you seen Your Name movie?
No, never.
It's amazing. It's 2016 year and 3 hours, but it's a very, very interesting and anime style movie. I want you to see
you
it.
probably heard about Kimi no Nawa.
Yeah, Kimi no Nawa.
Yeah. I know that Kimi no Nawa. Yeah. It was blockbuster in Japan. Yeah.
It is in the list of 250 best movies in the history.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I also watched it. Yeah. Did you like it?
Yes.
It's great.
So if you have any another question, I'm gonna ask you.
Actually, I have many questions, but at this moment, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I also like.
Okay, now take your time.
I have a question, Mahoko. I think I asked the other time, but this is the chance for you to go in depth. It's kind of on a sad topic. I'm sorry to go back about suicides again, but I remember once we had the Japanese lesson, and you guys remember. I think it was not Japanese actually. We just did like what other cultures are known for, and everyone was supposed to. I think it was English lesson, and everybody was supposed to find out facts about the countries, and we just gave everybody some country and pick an interesting fact. And I remember the two shocking ones. The German one was shocking because there was apparently they have a law that if the prisoner escapes prison, then he's free. So if the system wasn't good enough for to build so that's like human rights, and there's like a strange explanation to that. And the Japanese one was unfortunately two things what's intertwined, that number one reason for death is suicide, and that Japanese trains never are late, and the only maximum time they're late is 18 seconds, and it's actually everywhere. And we joke. Oh, and then the third thing was that there's a lot of suicides from the train. So we had black humor jokes, not from me, but that we have quite a crew at Language Mixer, who would joke Daurian style. It's not you, Daurian, but you would joke like that. But we joke that it's terrible to say that. I'm sorry. That there's 18 seconds. It's not the fault of the train system. It's the people that commit suicide. That's why the trains are only 18 seconds left, because late, because they quickly remove so efficiently and So there was like joke about the cliches more in a good-natured way. But I was shocked about it, and I wonder, if you guys don't have, like, in my view, you don't have that like unhappy people kind of perception, but there must be a lot of something going on underneath, maybe traditions, maybe something else, maybe that old tradition of harakiri that affects the mindset of people, that the only way they see out is suicide. But just wanted your perspective on this fact, or maybe it's not a fact. Maybe internet made it up.
Guys, I have one opinion. Can I say?
Sure.
Yeah. I think that Japanese people too much consider on their jobs, and they have is it okay? Example, they have too focus on their job, and they hardworking, and if something wrong on their job, or something something not good, and maybe they decide to finish it by suicide. Example, in Kazakhstan, it's actually in my case, I think that it's too easy to find job, and it's too easy to finish that job. Example, you can just say that, please, I want a job, and they can call by telephone, and then you can go to your workplace and the work. And if you don't like it, you can just don't go, and you can just call him and sorry, I don't like your job, and sayonara. And but in Japanese case, firstly you study several years, and you're looking for some good job to you, and you're working 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and you don't have any opinion, you don't have any choice to find other job. If you have one job and you're working, and if you have some problem, and you don't have nothing at least job, maybe that is a reason to
Thank you.
to this. Yeah,
Respect.
I don't know.
Thank
Maybe I
you.
think that. Yeah.
It's
No.
it's good to hear. Yeah. Oh, Mahoko, please go ahead now.
Oh, no. Yeah. Actually, Akira was correct, because all of the suicide is most of the case is related to the workings in the workplace. So some of them are very hard timing when it comes to working. So maybe it's because of their boss, or maybe it's because of their maybe sometimes it can be family, but most of the case it's because of their jobs. So I think the mentality of Japanese people are very serious and hardworking, and if you screw up at the job, it's gonna be the end. Because if we enter the country, the company, we keep working at a certain place. Of course, the situation is very different nowadays, but we used to have that kind of culture. So if you screw up at the one place, some people think, oh, it's gonna the end of my life. So they commit suicide because of that reason. And I think another fact is maybe we discussed with earlier before, we are kind of very developed country. So people are kind of have rooms to think about what is the meaning of my life, or what is the happiness, or how can I be happy. So I think it's because of the social media. So it's very easy to compare other people to by ourselves. So I think there is a second reason to very high rate of suicide, unfortunately.
Yeah, I remember we discussed Switzerland, that they also had a large number because they reached the peak of basic needs, you know.
Yeah.
Life. Interesting. Thank you so much, Mahoko.
Can I ask also what's the favorite way in Japan to die? Like
Oh my God.
Zika's favorite is not the appropriate word, but I think you know, train is very common, because I bumped into the accident maybe 3 or 4 times in Japan, unfortunately. So it's very, very usual or common to die because of the train. I mean, consciously. So you dive in front of the train, and the train just came and you hit by train. So I think it's the most common way. And another common way is you just hang that via neck with a rope. So it's also very common.
Oh my God.
Yeah, train is, I think, it's common, and there is one reason: it's free. You just go to bridge and you
but
don't
you know,
need to buy something.
Okay.
Yeah,
but you know, the problem is the family. Someone committed the suicide by train, they're gonna pay a lot of money to the train company. So it's another very serious problem, and that's very unfortunate, because they lose their family and they have to a lot of money, and yeah, you know, it's very hard.
I think
and the money to die.
Cheaper, like I mean, it's cheaper to die in Switzerland when you jump.
Guys,
Oh my
those of you who don't know, Zika is currently in Switzerland, by the way, the second most suicidal country.
And I think in Kazakhstan, people prefer to jump from some high building.
I guess they just hang themselves.
Such an interesting topic.
I cannot believe, and I know we're laughing about it because it's such a nerve-wracking one. I thought, Zika, you're not the one who claimed you like horror movies, but I'm sorry for starting this conversation. Let's ask about dating culture in Japan.
Yeah.
Opposite direction.
Yeah, bursts live. When do you start dating, and when? What is the courtship like? You remember how Lizat explained what is this like in China?
Are you married?
I think the dating culture is very, very not straightforward because Japanese guys are said very nervous and they are not very enthusiastic about dating to you. So they kind of avoid the do you want to go to drink, or so they just start about this and gradually building the relationship, and finally, do you would you be my boyfriend or would you be my girlfriend, and that's the final step. So until final step there is a lot of going on before just be a boyfriend or being a girlfriend, and I think it's something very confusing for foreigners because it's too much. And for example, American people are very straightforward and do you wanna yeah, hang out with me, or it's very straightforward compared to Japanese culture. And it said Japanese guys don't have enough courage to ask women, and it's kind of very new culture for Japanese because we are kind of very raised no, I forgot the word, but we are said the generation of very unmotivated and spoiled generation. So I think the mentality is kind of very relaxed and I don't care, or yeah, whatever, or something like that. You know what I mean?
But there's also a thing that girls approach the guys, yeah? I mean,
sorry?
Girls approach the guys, I mean. If
Yeah.
Give chocolate and then
guys are passive and then girls try to, I don't know, attract them
or encourage them to make the
Yeah. So maybe show the sign of I like you, and yeah, or maybe giving the chocolate on Valentine's Day, and yeah, that kind of thing which encourages guy to ask me to be a girlfriend. And in Japan we do
or just to say
yeah,
something like that.
Girls, make note. Give chocolates to boys.
Give chocolates to boys on Valentine's Day.
handmade chocolates.
Wow, Dorian. The demands are starting. But yeah, Mahoko, thank you so much. I was actually, I think Alexei asked you, but I was wondering also if your husband is Japanese or not. If it's
He's
not
also Japanese.
Oh, okay. How did you meet? What did he do? Did you give him chocolate?
Okay, so the reason why I liked him was when we first met, it was a kind of party around my friends and his friends, and he was very straightforward, and he asked me to go on a date, and after maybe 3 or 4 times he asked me to be a girlfriend, and he was very, very straightforward, and that was very comfortable for me. So that's why I liked him. And sometimes it's very, pain in the neck, because he likes to discuss about the issue and he likes to talk. But
Yeah. We have a friend, I mean, your blood and me, our friend now, she studied in Japan. She studied doctor, PH, PH,
PH.
yeah, PH in Japan. And now she's, I think she's going to marry to Japanese guy. Yeah. And when I first met him, I mean, her boyfriend, and our friends, we went to some cafe or bar, izakaya. Yeah. And there they like start talking, like asking how did they approach her, like you like very different from other guys, you know, that he went straight to her like your husband did. So he asked her like, oh, I like you and maybe we'll go somewhere, and then just they become a couple.
So guys are changing there in Japan.
Maybe.
Maybe these are two exceptions because chocolate sales are still up, right?
Is White Day is so important like Valentine Day?
I think it's said like because of the chocolate company, they are tempting to Japanese people, like giving chocolate to guy on Valentine's Day, and the Japanese people think, oh, it's a culture of foreigners,
Oh my
and that's
God.
wrong, totally wrong. But we do have that culture until now. And I was working in Tokyo, and on Valentine's Day, I had to buy a lot of chocolate to give guys, like it's like a thank you gift for co-workers. So it's weird, but yeah, you have to do that when you came to Japan.
Don't you like our conversation, guys?
Yeah, and why do you say WH like white? You say white.
Oh, but
Yeah.
say that. English people sometimes say that too. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and we sometimes make fun of why to like exaggerate the English sound. Because otherwise we just say why. It's very flat. So
No, I don't mean the word why. I mean the letters WH. Like when first I heard the whiteboard, I mean in Japanese it will be whiteboard, and it was really confusing. Like why you using what is white like どういうことですか?
yeah. So white is said white in Japanese, and I don't know why, but we don't have the same sound like what. So maybe we decided to do that easier way for Japanese people. White. It's totally different. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, good question, Dobin.
Hey guys, can I say something?
Yeah.
And guys, boys, if you want to make Japanese girlfriend, please don't repeat my mistake. I had one situation. Yeah, I was young and a little bit stupid. And, no, I think that Alexei wants to make Japanese girlfriend, and Alexei, it's advice to you.
What? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. And it was like 3 or 4 years ago. At work at the company, one girl, she was my senpai, and I was newcomers. I was kohai, and she, yeah, kohai, yeah, and she was too, she was too kind to me, and she always smiled and something like this. And I was like young, and I had too big ego. I was egoistic, and I thought that she's smiling only to me, and I thought that she like she loves me, something like this. And I thought, and one day I said here my feeling something like this, but And then she said, no.
Oh my God.
So I know. I do mean that if Japanese girl, no, I do mean that if Japanese girl has conversation with you, like too friendly, we smile, it doesn't mean that she loves you. It means that she's just kind. Yeah. But in my viewpoint was too kind. Yeah. Yeah. So it was too big.
Experience of a hard teacher.
Wow, yeah.
Gentlemen wait for chocolate. To clarify for boys. Especially at exchange, if you want Japanese girlfriend.
And just be careful, even though the girl will give you a chocolate, it doesn't mean she loves you, because she gives chocolate almost everybody.
Yeah.
Like, it's very common thing to do that. So, but what Akira said was very, very I think common or very true experience, because smiling is very important culture, part of culture in Japanese. So
Yeah.
maybe, yeah, so maybe she smiles all the time, but for foreigners, why is she smiling all the time? Or yeah, is there something funny
Yeah.
happening? Or yeah, it's sometimes very strange or funny for foreigners, but I think smiling is very, very important in Japan.
Yeah, I remember that my friend, I mean my coworker friend, she's the girl, and she told me the story that she was talking to with foreigners, and you know that you said that Japanese people always smile, like trying to be kind, polite, and she was like smiling, and other foreigner asked her like, "Why are you smiling? Like, is something happening?" Or like, because
It's so weird, right?
yeah, because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
when you're just talking and someone like, like,
Yeah.
yes, and Japanese people tend to like, hi, like,
Yeah,
that's why.
like nodding. Yeah.
Yeah, like nodding. And other thing that why I don't know, is it common or not? Japanese people think when you walking around or with your friend, with this, I mean, female friend, I don't know, and they just think that you're on the date or something like that. Because I was walking with my friend often. I mean, we both from Kazakhstan. We were both from Kazakhstan at that moment, and of course we just hanged out together. And but once my coworkers, I mean my manager, I mean higher boss, like said, "Oh, I saw you with your girlfriend. Who is she? She was really pretty." I said, "What? When? Who's like who are that?" And they said like, there, I saw you like in that place. And yeah, that's my friend. Like we are really good friends. It's I mean it's really normal in Kazakhstan to be friends with the boy and girl friendship. And she was like, no, something.
Yeah. It reminds me of the story. So Japanese people do get closer in front of people, especially if you, for example, I and my husband don't hug in front of people or kiss in front of people, and we are very kind of shy to doing that. So maybe it's very insensitive. So when you walk with girl, so maybe Japanese people think, oh, they are dating together, or but I think it's weird, because just walking is, for me, it doesn't mean anything.
I mean,
but
probably maybe I was like, I don't know, doing something.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe like
putting my hand on her,
touching.
like, touching, and it's not the common thing in Japan. I mean, in Korea, I mean, these Asian countries, like they
I don't
really
think.
like to keep their distance, like their private. I mean,
Yeah. I think so.
area.
Yeah, rather than
private space. Sorry, yeah.
No worries. Yeah.
I see new guy, Chudar.
Yeah. Me too.
We don't want to put a spotlight on you, but Jadar, if you want to introduce yourself, what do you like about Japanese culture, maybe? Hopefully that was
Hello, everyone. So, glad that you noticed me. So, I'm from Bishkek. I listened, no, today I read the topic from some blog post, I don't know, and that was about building your community. I got really interested on that community, so I joined it from via Instagram.
Perfect.
It's
So
really interesting.
We're very happy.
to
Welcome.
listen.
You're all welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Me too. So my name is pronounced like Jodar. It's Jodar. Yep. Yeah. You can say Johnny if it's difficult for you. Sometimes I get that. My name is a bit difficult for some people. Even in German, I got Mr. Zudarbeck. It's all fine by me. So about the Japanese culture. So I'm not that much familiar with Japanese culture. What I know is I know Naruto, and I know the word nani, and the meme from the internet. Omae wa what was that? Shindori. That was the most epic one.
Yeah, that's great one. That you know.
So you guys were talking about the most, I guess, the dating thing
Yeah.
or the building couples. Or
Yeah, we just asked Mahoko, who is our teacher today of Japanese culture and Japanese language for beginners, I suppose. So we have what we call social out because the formal part of the lesson is over, and now we're asking all sorts of questions to Mahoko, the ones that you cannot find in tourist guides. You know, things you want to find out about Japan that that only she can answer. So if you have any questions, go ahead. And of course, being boys and girls here, we were like, I don't know, most of us are single, and we were asking for dating tips, how to date a Japanese person.
oh shit!
Welcome.
Cool.
So anything that you want to find out? I know it's harder like off the top of your head, but we have another 20 minutes or so. I don't know if Mahoko, you have the time. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I have another 15 or 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So no problem.
So we can then wrap up.
Yeah.
I think Dorian has a question. He's prepared.
Yeah. I mean, I saw some video on the YouTube, and there was like commentary that Japanese people say foreign people, gaijin, gaikokujin. Yeah, and when they out of Japan, meaning foreign country, they also using the word gaijin. I don't know why. And there was really fun comment that said like, so the Americans told their Japanese friends, now you are the gaijins, and they was like shocked, like what? How come like like they're Japanese, they can't be gaijin, and then it was like funny story. I mean,
okay,
Mahoko can explain it better.
I don't know why, but gaijin means literally people from outside. So some people use the term very it's kind of racism. It's not very hard word, but some people think it's very, very bad word for describe foreigners. So we don't in my case, I personally don't use the word because that might be offend someone. And the word itself doesn't have bad meaning, but I think as I said, we live in very, very tiny little island, so it's surrounded by the ocean. So we have the strong mentality, like we are surrounded and someone comes from outside, it's gonna be gaijin. So I think that it's because of the mentality, because we are the person inside and they are the person outside. So I think they think like that. And nowadays at school, we learn some people use the word very waste-free or battery. So in my case, I don't use the word gaijin at all.
You use gaikokujin?
Yes, instead of gaijin, I use gaikokujin or just, yeah. Yeah, the guy from America or a guy from Russia or something like that.
What about the moments when people, the white people, or I mean like black people, I mean not Japanese, not Asian looking people, they born in Japan, and when they go to like restaurants or some cafes with their Asian looking friends from maybe probably China or other places, Asian countries, the waiters come to the Asian people and ask them like, what do you want? Do you want to make some orders? And then the white people, I mean the local Japanese white people say like, I'm like, I don't know, this like making the order, but the waiter looking at him, then looking at the Asian guy, then asks guy like, what do you want to order? And then white Japanese says like, but I already said what we want. I make an order, and he looks at the white guy and he's like confused, and then I get turns to Asian looking person and asks him again like in Japanese. Is it still like that or already changed?
I don't know. Maybe I was living in Tokyo, so that's not happening all the time, but maybe the similar thing happened to me in Kazakhstan. Maybe I went to a restaurant and maybe sometimes I look like Kazakh and maybe sometimes I look like Japanese. So the waiter or waitress think, oh, she cannot speak Japanese. So she asked my friends what you want instead of me. So maybe they want to avoid the misunderstanding, right? So we don't get used to have a lot of foreigners until recently. So maybe that's why.
So I also have one question. Like, is your life seems interesting to other Japanese people? Like, you have been to Kazakhstan, you have been to USA. Like, as I know, it's not maybe very usual for Japanese people like to be especially exotic countries like KZ.
I think maybe for most of them, living in Kazakhstan is much more amazing rather than living in New York City, because there were only 60 people in Almaty, and I think I have a lot of friends who are living in New York City. So that's not very rare, but my friends was very surprised when I told them I'm gonna leave Kazakhstan, and where is it, and what's the life like, and also 6 of my friends visited Almaty because they were very, very interested in Almaty, and they never. Oh, okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Jordan.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Have a
Sayonara.
good day. Sayonara. Yeah, so maybe life in Kazakhstan is much more interesting for Japanese people and much more rare or unusual. And living in New York City is kind of special, but not very special experience, I would say, because I knew some of my friends from high school also living in LA or Boston, or also I have a friend in Canada from Japanese. So from Japan. So maybe living in Kazakhstan is the most, I think, special experience for me.
Okay. Thank you.
I remember that you say in Japan, like you're a foreigner. They ask, "Oh, where are you from? America, Germany, France, Australia," and that's all. Like the list of the countries. That's like 4 or 5 countries, the most famous. And then you say Kazakhstan. Like, what? Where is that? Like Pakistan, Afghanistan, Kazakhstan. Like what?
Hear about Borat?
No, they don't know about Borat. Thanks to God, they don't know about that thing.
There are very few countries that don't know about Borat. Okay. You didn't hear, right? Mahoko.
I don't know. I think Mahoko like looking in the internet. What is the Borat?
No, no, I couldn't hear. What was it?
The movie Borat. Borat.
Oh my God.
Borat?
Yeah, don't look for that. It's like trash, absolutely.
Okay.
It's funny actually. Shocking but funny. Great.
So, are there any questions? Or
what about relationship between Japan and United States? I mean, do Japan people blame America about Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
Yeah, it's very hard to describe because our president, Prime Minister Abe Shinzo, is a kind of kohai of Trump. You know what I mean? So the Donald Trump is kind of very higher position, and we have to follow him. So America said this, and we're gonna follow this. It's very kind of sad relationship, and we have to pay a lot of military expense to America to secure Japan, but the lot of money are very wasteful, and it's very yeah, of course there are a lot of protests in Japan, but still you know, America is stronger than Japan, so it's very hard to say no. So I hope the next prime minister would be a little bit stronger to say no to drought. No, maybe Trump gonna screw up next election, but the next president of America, I hope so.